Today I'm going out diving again, and unfortunately last time I was out I had like a catastrophic failure here on this one fin. And you know what, these fins lasted me a long time. In fact, I remember actually replacing one of them. This is the blade here and this is the foot pocket. I replaced one of the foot pockets like a year or 2 years ago, and they still kept going. These are the OMER Stingray. Before this I had the OMER Millennium fins. They were awesome, and the Stingray sort of their next level, a lighter fin. They're produced at this angle so you get even more thrust in the water. What's really cool is they've come out with a brand new fin called the EVO, and this has a keyhole built into it. It's the same Stingray foot pocket, but the coolest thing is, or at least what they're claiming, is that as this fin moves through the water, this allegedly is wasted power, that your fin, each time you kick your leg, all the power in here doesn't actually help propel you. So they said, why not cut it out and allow the water right here that was wasted power just move right through the fin? So it's gonna be interesting. Could this be a weak point to this blade actually wearing out faster? We'll find out, as well as do I get as much power as I did on a solid fin? So we're gonna test that out today, but before I do that, I was walking through the hardware store the other day and I saw this tube patch kit. I thought, why not try for the fun of it? This is like $2 to actually try repairing with some rubber cement, but also some other ideas I had were to take the zip ties and almost drill these zip ties into it to also help reinforce it, just to see, could I get another 6 months out of these blades? New pair of fins aren't cheap. These aren't fiberglass, or carbon, but they still do cost a few dollars. So anyways, let's try repairing this real quick and then let's test out the new fins. You know guys, that looks actually pretty solid. I'm gonna wait for this rubber cement to sort of solidify, and then let's go test these out.
Whoa, let's explore and go find ourselves a tidal wave. Fly with Michael, this is survival, we go all day. Maybe we'll find something like a fish that will bring us life, a wish that I hope we'll find. In the ocean, swimming in it. Don't be scared or afraid, you'll get over it. There comes a time that you will be loving it.
This old pier or wharf was built 100 years ago and was actually used during World War II by thousands of soldiers to get off the shore onto the boats. And then 30 years ago, the strongest hurricane that ever hit Hawaii generated some big waves and broke apart the wharf, which eventually collapsed into the water. The water depth around the spot is between 15 and 30 feet. And as you guys know, fish love underwater structure, and this dive spot provides a pretty expansive amount of structure for these guys to hang out in. Today, the name of the game for me, as you can probably tell, is to sneak up on these fallen pieces of steel and concrete and hope that there's a good fish hanging out underneath. I have a lot of fun spearfishing, but there's no way I'm close to being like a professional freediver or spearfisherman. And I really haven't pursued like long, super long breath holds. And I know some of you guys, even subscribers, have much longer breath holds than me. I came up right here on a moo, which is one of my favorite fish to eat, but not having these like crazy long breath holds that it typically takes to get these fish and sort of hunt them. I just decided to take a literal long shot here for my chance at getting them. and unfortunately I missed. But almost immediately when my spear shaft hit the bottom, a reef shark popped out of nowhere to check out my spear to see if there was a fish on the end of it. One thing I noticed about the sharks at this location is that they're pretty big and healthy size for being white tip sharks, and they measure up to almost the maximum size that they'll ever get. Finally, checking under these platforms paid off. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a good-sized fish. Yeah, I scored the ultimate shot here with all these sharks around. If I hadn't stoned this fish and instead it had been like fighting all over the place after spearing it, those sharks would definitely have been all over it. These fish are absolutely one of my favorites. They taste great and they look so awesome. They call the blue color on these fish electric blue. Another video where I caught an even bigger Omilu is listed in the video description below. Fighting these fish on a fishing rod, as you guys probably know, or some of you guys know, pound for pound, they put up a great fight. Even like the little ones can make you feel like you're fighting a huge fish on the other end.
Swim deep, find a better way, something to light up a spark again. So lift me up to a higher state. Oh yeah. It's time to say goodbye, leave it all in show, don't we? Need you to hold your breath, swim till you reach deeper and we. It's time to leave, it's time to break free from the shallows.
I hadn't seen one of these sea slugs before. I felt bad that he was floating down so slowly, so I gave him some help back to the bottom. These right here are the most common sea slugs on Maui, and if you ever see them while snorkeling or diving, they're always in pairs. So we've come to the fin testing part of this video. First off, my new OMER Stingray foot pockets with the EVO blades. I personally dive the nearshore reefs the most, and my fins unfortunately take a beating and get scratched up on the rocks and banged up over time. OMER also has some awesome carbon fins, which I'd recommend for diving blue water or deeper reefs, but for my situation, I usually stick to their plastic blades. The keyhole in the EVO blades was ultimately premiered, I think, a couple years ago in their kelp fins. So I guess you could call like the keyhole design a tried and tested technology. It's new to me though, so before trying these out, I thought having a hole cut out in the middle of the blade was gonna feel like a super significant modification from what I was used to. But I quickly realized that the experience was not that obvious and it wasn't like totally different feeling. They felt great, but I really needed a direct comparison. So I went back and grabbed my good fin from my old set and wore one of each. Right away, it was more obvious to me that the newer EVO blades were equal to or probably a lot better than my older ones. And the longer I compared them, literally side by side, I felt like there was probably 10 to 15% more propulsion in each of my kicks that was coming from my leg wearing the newer EVO blade, so the hole in it. I think there's something to the whole keyhole design, and I'd say I like it. It got me thinking, you may be able to just drill a hole or jigsaw a hole out of any plastic fins to get the same improvement. Lastly, I tested my old fin that I had repaired at the start of this video. After about 30 minutes of testing, the repair had held up, so I'll continue using these fins as a backup pair for now. I was about done for the day and I was on my way back to shore. I came across this huge school of surgeonfish. There were a couple of giant unicorn fish in this group that I had my eye on. Then when I was about 30 feet from shore, I had a leatherback jack or lie swim right in front of me and I got it. A good way to end an already great day. You can see right here, this is where the shaft went in and the spear just went straight up into his brain. Brained him, stoned him on that shot. It was so awesome. Try to hold this up here. The gill plate area totally reminds me of like a bass when it opens its mouth to hit some bait. Or like in Jurassic Park, did you guys ever see that one dinosaur that has like the gill plate thing that fans out? I bought a 3-pack of these green cutting boards that I'm using here, and I'm hoping it makes the fish just pop on the video. Do you guys know that my white countertop beside my cutting board here is actually resin? It was originally like a solid surface, like corian or whatever they call that. It didn't look very good though, so it looked kind of old and whatever. So they poured like a resin on top of it, on top of your existing counter, and it makes it look just like marble or granite or really whatever you want. It's sort of neat. You see there's like just scales all over this and other random bits of maybe some sand or whatever's on the fish. I'm just gonna dip each of these fillets into some ice water. Yeah, this water is freezing cold, guys. My finger is like numb just touching it. We're gonna vacuum seal these fillets, I think, and I'm gonna throw them into my sushi grade fish freezer at negative 31 degrees Fahrenheit for the next 15 hours or so to kill any, possible parasites or parasite eggs. Even if you don't visually see any parasites in your fish and you're gonna eat it raw, there can still be parasite larvae hidden in it. So, I recently even read that in Japan, where they've historically eaten their fish raw, they're now commonly like freezing all their fish before eating it. This might gross you out, but I've heard that 60 to 90% of all wild salmon has parasites. And I was at the major grocery store the other day, and I'll try to put the video up here so you guys can see it. I filmed like a parasite just crawling around that was still alive on the wild salmon that was for sale. That's why at sushi restaurants, they'll typically use farm salmon that's been treated with antibiotics and stuff to kill the parasites. In addition, they still freeze it.
Hey guys, I'm about to do a catch and cook in a really cool location here near the stream. But first off, I wanted to show you this location here on Maui. It's sort of unique. It has what's called Hawaiian petroglyphs. They're nowhere as old as, Egyptian hieroglyph, but they're still really cool. Let me show you.
Today I'm making some ceviche with one of my favorite fish, which is Omilu, or Bluefin Trevally. I'm gonna be soaking the fish in some lime juice first, and then dice up some super fresh vegetables, and I'm gonna eat it with these super crunchy tortilla chips. Let's get started. That's so good. I think it does need a bit of salt. I know that the taco chips will have some salt, but I think a bit of salt will just take it where it needs to be. That's really good. You know, the citrus flavor, the lime really jumps out. It's super good. As well as I really noticed the purple onion. It's not sharp, it's really good taste. There's zero fishiness to the raw fish. Super good. If you guys want to try this, I'll put the general ingredients I use below. And thanks so much for watching another episode of Awesome Blue. If you guys want to see more, please hit the like and subscribe buttons, and I'll see you on the next one.
If you like watching Awesome Blue, hit subscribe and thumbs up too. Exploring the ocean, swimming with sharks, shooting big fish, hit it right on the mark. Share our channel with your friends, watch every video until the end. Our passion is spending time, finding different ways just to blow your mind. Are you ready? Let's go. Watch a video, best place you know on this Awesome Blue show.